This latest generation of the BMW X3 is almost as big as some previous generation X5s. That's the first thing to get your head around when I'm trying to compare how big it is on camera. And yes, this is the latest gen of the X3. Welcome to Novon Cars and welcome to the Curragh. An aspect that might be very exciting for some of you watching is the fact that you can still get an X3 with a diesel engine. When you fire it up, you'll see 1,000 kilometers in the dashboard telling you your range could do loops of Ireland without stopping, if you wanted. And for those of you of the horsey variety, with the diesel, you'll be glad to know you can tow 2.5 ton in this baby. But for those of you less interested in running on DERV, there is a plug-in hybrid option and there's also a 2-litre petrol option. The double kidney grille lights up during the day, lights up during the night. You can get very fancy headlights if you like. These little vertical side strips, the main headlight here. It's all very modern BMW-ish and some people love that and some people are... The X3 is 4.75 metres long and it's a little over 2.8 metres in the wheelbase. So is there more usable rear space in this car? How does it compare to the Audi Q5? And should you be considering something like the Porsche Macan instead? I will get to the bottom of all those questions on this review today. 75 kilo payload on the roof if you do like your holidays. The adaptive suspension might be a reason to go for the 20s on the M Sport pack, which I think 70% of X3 customers go for. You can get smaller wheels. It might look a bit awkward, but it might ride better, or it might save you from getting the adaptive suspension, because the ride is pretty decent anyway. This boot part, the way it sweeps in, reminds me of the first Gen 1 series, which I don't think is a bad thing. It's a little bit more kind of boxy and masculine looking compared to previous generations of the X5. And again, some people will like that, some people may not like it. Like how these lights cut right in, but it doesn't have a light bar across the back because everyone else is doing that. So BMW wanted to be a little bit different. There's a wiper, there's a spoiler, and the M in this black, it's all black. Looks good. 20D, it is a 2-litre, but don't assume that means it's a 2-litre with badging these days, because God only knows. The boot, which is electric, which is handy, has, well, first of all, you can get a tow bar, a little button in here that pops out. But what I love about it is, now it's a little bit slow, but you know, horses can wait, whatever. You don't have to push it back in yourself. There's a button that does that for you. You don't have to bend down. You're thinking of your back. The boot is 570 litres, fine. But if you get the plug-in hybrid, you lose the guts of 100 litres over that because the battery. So that's something to consider. A flexible parcel shelf. Even with the upgraded sound system, there's still space below here because sometimes with a sub or whatever, that's missing space again. But you're going to have to use gunk to get yourself back on the road should you get a flat. That is one inconvenience. There's a 12-volt charger, there's shopping hooks, there's lights. It's as you'd expect, and decent space, unless you get the plug-in hybrid. Pretty all right back here. There is a significant hump in the floor, however, so your middle passenger will have to straddle either side. Please don't announce there's a screen here with 2 USB-C charging ports. There is an armrest if that middle passenger you'll have to straddle is not present. And there is no access to the rear of the car into the boot this way. The seat belts have some nice M Sport stitching colours on them. Always feels nice. Back of the seats are hard. Depending on how tall you are, you'll have lots of space, or maybe not as much space, but there's, for me, loads of foot room, loads of knee room. I'm pretty happy here. There's window blinds, part of a pack in this car. Privacy for the kids, keep the sun out of their eyes, whatever you fancy. And there is this, I don't know if it's questionable, it's kind of a material that's probably recycled on the tops of the doors. I take it over cheap, scratchy plastic, and there is some of that in the back of this car all the same. Hopefully you've been around on the channel for a while, so you know me. I give it straight, I give the good and the bad. Been a lot of criticism over the interior. I've had a lot of comments on my previous video of the X3, particularly about these kind of door inserts. People aren't huge fans. There is a little bit of a manipulative slider for the air vent. It says X3. It lights up sometimes quite aggressively at night time in terms of how bright the ambient is. Now you can turn that down, there's a night mode and all that. My biggest gripe is really this kind of tray area. It's huge. You can't cover it up. There's a wireless charging pad. There's somewhere else for your phone if you're not charging, 2 USBs and 2 cup holders, right? That's all good. But around the perimeter of it is this really bright ambient light. It's just maybe a bit too much. You know, BMW interiors used to be so subtle. There was just one colour. You had needles. I know time has to move on and all that stuff, but there's a bit of scratchy stuff down here. Yes, you can put on your hazards and the whole thing flashes red, and that's in all the latest BMWs. So that's kind of the negative stuff. I don't really mind this kind of cloth material. It's something different. It's an 8-speed auto gearbox. Decent enough display here. Head-up display in this car. You've got the wraparound screen with all the bits. I don't know if it's because I don't have a profile because it's not my car, but I have to connect CarPlay every single time I get into the vehicle. That's probably not a thing. There's a decent screen on it with the 360 overview. The seats are comfortable, right? There's kind of wide back support on them. Not as comfortable as in the new BMW iX. They're a different kettle of fish. There's heated and cooled seats in this car. There's a heated steering wheel in this car. So lots of the comfort things, and you can precondition it to be warm in the morning and all that stuff. The iDrive is controlled by the central screen here. Nothing new going on there. Decent size armrest also with another 12-volt charger. So 2 12 volts in the car if you do your camping or you like to keep things cool. But yes, there's a little step down in how the interior might be staring back at you compared to previous gen X3s. Let me know what you think down below. The petrol version has a little over 200 brake horsepower. The diesel, it's still a 4-cylinder, 197 brake horsepower and 400 newton meters of torque. Both the petrol and the diesel have mild hybrid technology going on, so just 48 volts. And yes, the plug-in hybrid will do about 100 kilometers, little under that officially, and you'll be able to charge that at 11 kilowatt on an AC charger. And for lots of people, that will be the one. For others, they'll want the diesel just because of the range, just because of the towing, a combination of all of the above. But generally, the PHEV will be the more affordable one to run. One thing you'll notice about the diesel, it is incredibly quiet. You know, BMW for decades have done great diesel engines, and even with this being an all-wheel drive vehicle, it's still doing what they claim it to do, about 6 litres per 100 kilometers, maybe 6.5 to 6.9 at a push. But really, it's quite frugal for the all-wheel drive grip. I wouldn't say it's sluggish, but it's funny. You get so used to driving electric vehicles and that instant torque that's there. You're not waiting for anything to spool up. You're not waiting for the power to come on from about 1500 RPM. It's different. This still has lovely pulling power, however, if you're going to be overtaking vehicles and things like that. There's just something nice about that diesel grunt, and grunt is probably actually the wrong word because it is so quiet. The adaptive suspension, there's a comfort mode and there's a sport mode. I haven't even gone near sport mode, just left it to do its own thing, and it's really, really good. I mean, I often talk about dynamic chassis control and things like that. This is super. It still has a bit of feedback. It's still not overly firm, but it's sporty. It's kind of just got a sweet spot going on. But also beep coming up to junctions so that you know there's a stop sign ahead of you, or when the traffic lights go green when you're sitting there. And if you're a BMW driver who isn't paying attention. One thing I can't understand, so you get cruise control, but you don't get adaptive cruise control as standard. It's an optional extra. Like, come on, BMW, what is the story? Also, the door bins, okay, they're good size, but they're plastic. There's no lining inside them, so things are going to rattle around. And again, for a car with this version, which has like 20 grand's worth of extras, but even at the M Sport, little over 80 grand, BMW you can do better than that, come on. You just know this is a car that has been built for the Autobahn in Germany. There's very little wind noise at motorway speeds. It's so solid, it's so planted. It's a thing that if you've got to do long distances, it's a machine for that. I've driven the Audi Q5. It's something else to consider. I think you'll be equally questioning some of the plastic in that car. This probably has the better steering feel than the Audi. It's a little bit more vague, perhaps. This still has some sense of BMW's famous feedback through the steering. 8-speed gearbox is smooth. Gear changes are very, very instant, quick. Don't really notice it going on, to be honest with you. Certainly not a car that you're going to go, I wish it had a manual. It's just not one of those cars. Hold down this boost button and you'll get a boost display in the screen, and the head-up display lights up. And yeah, again, there are BMWs you'll use that more in. I don't think an X3 2-litre diesel is the one for that, to be honest. Overall, it's a car that will remind you that BMW just make great SUVs. The X3 is being a massive success for them. I remember the launch of the car, they were talking about the Chinese market, American market, huge markets for this kind of vehicle. In the M Sport, you get the wider tires, you get the bigger wheels, you can have a little bit more fun in corners. It's still not dull to drive, essentially. You know, you can still have a little bit of enjoyment should the mood take you. Really though, with the extra wheelbase, the decent boot, it's all about doing the family things that, you know, this car is going to do day in, day out. And the X3 is probably well known for that. And the weird thing about the pricing now is if you were to spec this car highly, as this car is, it's actually more expensive than the entry-level X5. And surely people will want an X5 over an X3. Or maybe they just kind of want the smaller, less cumbersome car to park, to maneuver in town, things like that. In summary, a very solid effort from BMW to make the continuation of the X3. Like so many cars though, the price has crept up. Is the competition in the X3 space more competitive than ever? Well, probably is. The new Q5 has arrived. I've got reviews of that if you want to watch. I've got reviews of the Porsche Macan, the electric version, the turbo version. There is a lot out there. This is still a great all-rounder. Yes, the interior, maybe not as good as it was in the past. The ride on this and the fuel efficiency from the diesel is exceptional. I am looking forward to trying the PHEV. Haven't tried it yet. Once you start speccing options, which you're going to want to do a little bit, it is getting very, very pricey. And the Macan is slightly more expensive, but residual-wise, and it's a Porsche, might be a factor for you. But is it still very worthy of your consideration? Absolutely. Just don't expect change out of 80 odd grand once you tick even one or two options. So let me know what you think of the BMW X3. Comments, as always, are very welcome down below. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, I really would appreciate it. If this video has helped, you might like the video also. It really does help out, trust me. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.